Right, so I want to talk about tension and why tension is behind a lot of pain and how to identify that tension as coming from an involuntary, automatic response of your nervous system. Because when you can start to understand how it's automatic and it's running beyond your awareness, then you can start to understand what the solution is to dealing with pain, dealing with tension. So I was working with a client yesterday who had been doing some work on this for some time, but was a little bit frustrated about progress and feeling, still feel quite stuck. And what I find with that situation is that coming back to this basic understanding of how the nervous system works is really helpful. So I'm going to give you 3 main responses the nervous system does that you might not be aware of, that you can start looking out for in your own body and in your own life to see where this might be playing a part in what you're experiencing. So the first reflex is the action reflex. It's literally the nervous system response to getting you moving, to getting you walking forwards in action and living your life. That response starts around sort of 6 months of age. It's called the Landau response, and it's literally where you lift your head up for the first time and your back muscles contract. Now that contracting of your back muscles continues throughout your whole life. It doesn't stop. And what happens is it's triggered over and over again. So when you've spent years and years like running around after kids and trying to fit in your work and your holidays and cooking and all the rest of it, you will have triggered that response over and over. And then what happens is over time that becomes a learned pattern by your brain. The second reflex is the withdrawal reflex, which is the opposite of that, which is stop, pulled in, and where you need to kind of withdraw, and it's associated a lot with emotional issues. So particularly things like when you're feeling apprehensive or you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel crap generally, you start to withdraw. We all know that feeling of rounding the shoulders and pulling inwards. So that's a very real nervous system response to life. And again, when it's repeated habitually, not habitually, but when it's repeated over and over again, then over time our brain learns to hold our muscles tight in that pattern, in that habit. So then we have a situation which I see in myself and in everybody that I work with who is sort of 45 plus, where you've got these slightly tight muscles in the back of your body, or very tight muscles in the case of some people, and tight muscles in the front of the body. And then there's this kind of tug of war going on, and it creates a brace, and your body finds it hard to be fully free to move. And then of course, once you get stuck, once your muscles become tight like that, then that's when you experience, soreness of muscles that are constantly holding. And not only that, the ability to move is restricted as well. So, again, it can be another reason for pain. So those 2 reflexes are things you can start to notice for yourself. Now, the best way to do it is through somatic exercise, which is obviously what I'm here teaching you, and learning how to feel those patterns, those habits. Now, there's a third reflex that is very important as well, especially because you're active and have been and probably had various injuries over the years and hurt yourself in different ways, and your body responds to that through a contraction of your waist muscles, so it pulls you off to one side. So again, any pain that you have on one side of your body tends to be caused by this trauma reflex pattern. And it's a physical thing rather than an emotional thing. although obviously emotions are a big part of what your nervous system is dealing with, and it doesn't really matter if it's something that's going on in your mind or if it's something that happens physically, your nervous system treats it in the same way. So just think about any things that have happened to you in your past and decide whether, that holding could be as a result, or if it feels like it was a result of something that's happened to you. For me, that was very much what I had to uncover to try and, finally reduce tension around my hip and get my hips moving properly again, and my lower back, all connected, by the way, obviously. And so when you start to understand these reflexes more through practices that are giving you information about yourself, it's very freeing, and you can start to be more confident in your body, which is really what this is about. Which it's not about really getting rid of the problem, it's about understanding how to deal with it in the future as well. So if that is new information for you, then follow along for these videos that I'm showing you, because we're going to be talking about how to actually come out of those reflex habits. Now, when all of those three combine, you're stuck a little bit with tension in your back of your body and in the front of your body and in the side of your body. This is your individual habit, your pattern, which is different from mine or anybody else's. It's specific to you, so you're going to have to start to learn how to peel back the tension of your own patterns. And that's quite an easy thing to do, but you have to be willing to listen to what your nervous system's telling you. So I hope you found that useful. My name's Claudine, by the way. Welcome, thanks for watching. Stick around if you would like to hear more about this, and we'll talk more.